All right, guys, welcome back to part 6. I got the cabinet out. We're gonna get the side art and the front art installed, and then we can get the coin door in and start putting some stuff back together. We'll get the marquee and stuff put on this video. The coin door, that'll probably be it on this video, and then we'll do the cap kit and work on the board and stuff after that. So let me get set up here. We're gonna put this front art on first. This one's gonna be a little bit tricky to get this on. We need to try to get rid of this black border that's on here. So we need to try to just center this the best we can. We'll be all right, I think. We just gotta take our time here. This was rolled up for a little while, so it's not wanting to relax down. Just want to get this one edge paper off. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing with the camera where it's positioned at. But I'm going to peel back this one side. I'm just going to fold this right here, this paper. Got a little bit of dust on it, but it'll wipe off. So what I want to do is I want to try to position this so that I hide this black line. But I can't go too far because then I won't have enough room on the other side. I think that's pretty good there. I mean, if a little bit of the black line shows, it's not a big deal because the side of the cabinet right here is black. But I want to try to keep it to a minimum. Trying to slowly work this side down here. A little bit showing down there. I think I'm going to readjust it. I'm not pushing it down hard so I can peel it back off. Should be able to. You can use water, soapy water underneath it if you want. I usually do not use it. I don't like the way that it leaves a bunch of air bubbles. But if you're worried about it, use the soapy water. Just taking my time here, just trying to let the vinyl relax. If you get some air bubbles, this is an air release vinyl. You can just use your finger and rub on it, and it takes them right out. And it doesn't hurt the vinyl at all. And it seems to scratch less if you use your finger versus a squeegee. I got one right here. Got a little bit of a crease right here. See if I can work this one out. There we go. There we go. So that's out. If you just take your time, you can usually get this stuff perfect. Okay, now we just got to press in our edges here. Make sure the edges are in all the way into the corners. Now we can trim it. I just use one of these disposable knives here. I buy these at Harbor Freight. They're like 69 cents. And then just run your knife right in that corner. Don't have to push real hard. Now this cabinet did not have side art on it when it came. So I gotta look at a couple pictures and see about the rough placement of where it goes. I cut out the coin door. There we go. Make sure it's pushed down everywhere. Oh, got one air bubble I heard. It's gone now. And then we have our holes for the bolts for the coin door. So I want to cut these. I just put a T cut in them, or a plus sign. Okay, front is put on. So now we'll get the cabinet spun sideways. And we'll get get the side art installed. I'm gonna look at a couple pictures and try to estimate how far from the top down it goes and from the bottom up. I think they're about 42 inches long, the stickers. Okay, I looked at some pictures online and it looks like roughly this needs to be, the bottom of this is just about to the height of that blue, or a little bit above the blue. So I think we're gonna place it right here. What we'll do is we'll just measure and place the other one same height-wise. This is for the other side. Let me grab the other one here, because I believe one image goes one way and one image goes the other way. Yes, okay. So he faces towards the front of the cabinet, and that other one will go on the other side, which will also place towards the front of the cabinet. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of eyeball it. I did not put transfer tape on this. We cut it and then peeled the vinyl off the outer edge, and this is just the paper backing. So I didn't want to waste a bunch of transfer paper. We don't really need it. We can measure just fine from this. I'm gonna I kind of like it here height-wise. I think I'm gonna kind of just center it as best I can from here. Obviously it's got to go forward a little bit more because this bumps out here. So I think I'm just going to stick a piece of tape here for now. Go grab a tape measure, do a couple measurements on it, and we'll see what we come up with. And then we can just duplicate this on the other side. So we'll leave that on there for a second. Let me go grab a tape measure. Online, there's images of stickers that are up higher and go even lower, and then there's ones that are about this size. So I'm not sure what size they originally were. This is the size that it was in the vector lib file, so this is what I'm going with. So right now we're 10¼ inches down to the top. There's real no way to measure this from here to the back because it's waves all different sizes. There's no real evenness anywhere coming down. Maybe from this one to that one it's close, but I still don't think it's right. I mean, it's close. This is 1 7/8 and this is 1¼ inch. I mean, that's ½ inch, but I don't really have any way to, guess you just kind of got to go by your eye and see what it looks like. And I'm almost thinking that's probably fine right where it's at. And then we can just kind of stick it, and then we'll just take our measurement from here to here, and then from here to here, and maybe even from here to here on the other side, so we can at least duplicate it and get it close to the same spot. Right now this is here, this ends here, and the blue starts about here. I noticed some of the pictures, this was way down here, and it was up here even higher. So that's like they made the image bigger than what it should be. But I'm pretty sure that that's probably really close to the original size. Because I know a lot of people, they'll make their artwork bigger than what it originally was. So we're gonna leave it there. I like it there. So I'm gonna take some tape now and go on the sides here. And I'm going to just do it twice. Try to really hold that in place. And then we'll peel these top ones off. And we're going to let the top fall down. Just like that. Hopefully that tape does its job and holds it for me. And then we will get the back peeled off. Usually when you order the vinyl, it'll come with a masking on the front side, so it makes this part a lot easier. I've just done it for a long time, so I just don't see a point in using the masking for me personally, but I would definitely recommend using the masking. These squeegees that we use have leather, like a suede, wrapped around them, so it doesn't scratch it very easily. I know a lot of them, they come and they're just plastic edged. So if you guys are buying some of these to have, you can even get them on Amazon where they have these edges. Or if you already have the plastic ones, you can actually buy this and stick them to it. They have felt ones, I think, and this is like a suede material. So now that we got that cut there, we're gonna hold this up like this. We can let those two sides droop, that's fine. We're gonna go right up the middle here. Just wanna go carefully right up the middle. These two sides can keep drooping for now. And then we're just gonna kind of push out to the sides. We'll do the front first. Just you kind of gotta let the vinyl just do what it's gonna do. Kind of just let it relax and do it on its own. Don't try to force it if you don't have to. We're gonna do the same thing on the back. We're gonna just squeegee it right towards the back. Just right out. You don't have to push hard. You don't have to go trying to manhandle it into place. Nice and easy. I usually take my hand and lightly rub over it just to feel for any air bubbles or anything like that. That feels real good. So now what we can do is we can untape this and then we can start, we can get the paper off of it. And I don't know if I'll take it all off in one piece, the rest of it. We'll probably just take a little bit off, apply it, take a little bit more off and apply it. So just gotta carefully take our tape off here. Another thing that would be good to do too is when you put the tape on here to hold this edge right here, if you fold this over like that's how you should do it. I didn't do it like that, but because you should really pull the tape from the stencil this way rather than from this way to the stencil, because you can take that edge and actually peel it off. So it is best to go this way. And like I said, just fold the end over just like that. Just give yourself a little bit of a tab so that you can easily grab it and not worry about like digging your fingernail into your artwork. You know, putting a nick in your laminate over top of your artwork, if you have laminated artwork or not. So now we're just going to peel the paper. See, dirt right there. I don't even know what that is. Okay, just make sure everything's clean. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this right in half there, so that we have half of that remaining paper taken off. I'm just going to let this fall into the cabinet real gently, just like that. We're just going to go straight down, straight across. Just taking our time, letting the vinyl relax against the cabinet. A lot of people like to install side art laying down. There's nothing wrong with that either. You can definitely do that. To me, I think I get less air bubbles and stuff by doing it standing up rather than laying down and trapping air underneath it. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hold the paper and just keep working it down, right to left. Nothing crazy here. These, just be really careful. Push them down like that. Same over here. Okay, we got one side done. We got a little crease, not even a crease, but a little bit of a bubble there. We'll just work that out to the edge. Little tiny bubbles left, finger takes it away. This side's done. This is the easier of the two sides, because now we gotta measure for the other side and duplicate what we have over here. So there we go with that one. So let me get the cabinet spun around and we'll start on the other side. Okay, so cabinet spun around. I know that we are 10 1/4 down from the center, 3 inches in from the front, on an angle, just about like that with the tape measure. So we're gonna get this up there and get it close. Get a couple pieces of tape on it. And we can kind of move it around until we get it where we need it to go. So just get the tape on here. So what I'm going to do is take my tape measure. It is nice if you have somebody to give you a hand too, rather than trying to do it all by yourself. If you have somebody around that's willing to give you a hand, it makes life a lot easier. So now I know we need to go forward. We're about to the right height, but we're not far enough forward. We're just about 3 there. And we're 10 1/4 there. So we're going to put these 2 pieces of tape up. This will hold it for right now. Now we're going to remeasure. We're a 1/16 over 10 1/4. We're right at 3 inches. So if I come on this side, I'm right at 3 inches. I'm at 10 1/4. So we're within a 1/16 of an inch. I am totally fine with that. It's close enough. I do want to kind of look though, because to me it seems like it's going on an angle. So I'm going to take a measurement from this point to the back on the other side, and then we'll measure this side and we'll see what the difference is. Over here, we're at, to the very most bumped out area, we're at 1 1/4. That's to this very farthest area. And if you look here, we're at 3/4 of an inch. So we're actually off by 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tape on this one, I'm going to loosen this tape up, and we're going to take this sticker and we're just going to pivot this side up a little bit. And then we'll see where we're at. So it's going to come up just a little bit. And it doesn't take a lot to get it moved over. So now we're a 1/16 over 1 1/4. Let me go measure again. And we're right at 1 1/4 on this side. So we might need to shift it back down a hair. And now if you look at this, we're at 10 1/8. So we're actually a little too high now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to hold this. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this side loose, ever slightly drop it down, and then we're going to loosen this one, and we're going to drop this one down. Try not to do both sides at one time, because then you're really throwing yourself off, which I just might have done by the tape letting loose. But we'll see, because I did kind of hold it, so we might be all right. Yep, we're at 3.5 now. We need to be at 3 inches. This needs to go that way. And this is still 10 1/8. So we gotta readjust this. My tape, I think, is up here. I'm gonna grab a little bit more tape. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to untape this, but here's what I'm gonna do. Since I'm gonna completely untape this off the cabinet right now, I'm going to take this piece of tape and put it along the edge of the paper. At least then I know that we need to go a little bit lower than that, but at least I know that we're close. So if this drops down, I know I got to at least get it close back up to there. We do need to drop it down a little bit. We need about almost a 1/4 inch gap between that piece of tape and where the artwork starts. Or, I'm sorry, where the paper starts. So I'm going to just completely untape this. And we're going to shift it forward a little bit and bring it down a hair. Sometimes you'll get this second try. Sometimes you'll adjust this thing 10 times. See, now we're 2.5. So now we're forward too far. We're perfect height-wise. We're at 10 1/4, but we're 2.5. So we need to move that over. And then we're at 1.5 here. And that needs to be 1 1/4. So we're gonna untape it again. This tape doesn't like to stick to this paper very well, so you gotta kind of be a little quick with it. You don't want to let it sit up there for too long. Now, if you have paper on the front of your artwork, masking paper, you're fine. Masking tape will stick to it really well. So we're gonna eyeball this again. Two 5/8, still got to go more. just over 2 3/4. I would rather move it 10 times a little bit than just completely get it off course. Let's try that. Gotta be getting close. 2 7/8. One more time. Second under 3 inches. 10 1/4 perfectly. 1 1/4 perfectly. We are within a 1/16 to a 32nd of an inch. I am completely fine with that. So now we're going to take the tape again and we're going to put these tabs on the side, just like we did on the other one. But this time I'm going to remember, and I'm going to make this little fold over tab here just so it's easier for me to unstick that afterwards. 2 per side I like to use, just as a backup. And I try to get them about the same height on each side. Okay, we are good there. So now we can untape the top. We'll let it fall down. Let me move, I'm probably really in the way. I don't know if that'll maybe help. We're going to peel the back off, same as we did the other side. And then also make sure you keep your paper away from the cabinet. You don't want to go running your knife into your new paint job. Okay, let's grab it in the center. Kind of pull on it a little bit. You don't want to go yanking on it and ruin your tape. We're going to let it, exact same thing as the other side. We're going to go right up the center, all the way up. Now we're going to start working these edges out. Same thing over here. A little bit of a crease. If you start getting a crease, stop and use your finger. Don't start cramming on it with this thing, because you're just going to create a crease that you will not be able to get rid of. Let me see if I can show you. I got a pretty good bubble right here, but let me show you. I don't know if I'll be able to. I kind of left a bubble right here on purpose. I don't know if I'll be able to zoom in enough for you to see it or not. I doubt it. There's a bubble right here. See it? It's gone. It literally is that easy. But there's a big bubble right here. So if you just take your finger gently, don't push hard, just the heat of your finger itself, and just rub it around the creases. There is a big bubble here. That is a screw up on my part, but let's see if I can't rub it out with my finger. See that big bubble right here? That's a real big bubble there. We can pop it if we need to, or I can simply easy massage it with my finger. I don't want to use this, because if I start cramming on this, I'm going to put a crease line right in that vinyl. Then you're not going to get rid of it. That's going to be the end of it. So see how I've worked that bubble from here, completely gone, up to there. I'm just going to keep using my finger, and now it's gone. This is a HP vinyl that we use. I like it. It's I think it's pretty comparable to 3M in my opinion. I think 3M is air gap or air release or something like this, and this one's called air gap. I don't know, vice versa, I don't remember. But okay, so the top half is on, all the bubbles are out of it now. Hopefully me showing you that if you start to get a big bubble, you can get it out without getting a crease in it. So now we can pull our tape off. Now the problem with liquid, in my opinion, I mean, if you've never done it before, definitely use the liquid, you know. Problem is if you had liquid, if I had sprayed this whole top half with liquid, and I had that big bubble right there, I would more than likely have to pop a hole in that, because there would probably be no way I would squeegee that liquid out from here all the way up to the edge. And even if I did get it squeegee out, this would stay a bubble for days. Eventually it would probably dry out, but you know, you do run a risk of it not wanting to adhere well. So we're gonna do the same thing. Peel this back to here. Hold it. Don't pull on it real hard. We're just gonna work it down. I know that vinyl installation is stressful, especially when you're buying it and you're spending hundreds of dollars on it, and then you go and you wrinkle it. It sucks, you know. I've done it years ago before we started printing a lot of our stuff. I would order art kits, and you know, 10 years ago, I didn't know what I was doing. I never in my life had put on a vinyl sticker other than a little one on your bumper sticker or something like that. So I went into putting these full side graphics on, and then I'd screw them up. I'd get a wrinkle in it, and it would look like crap, and I didn't want to spend another couple $100 for new artwork, because a lot of these guys, you have to buy both sides and the front. Again, you can't just buy one side. So I get it. I understand it's stressful. But once you get the hang of it, it's really, honestly, very easy. I still mess up occasionally, you know. I mean, it happens to everybody. I've had artwork peeling it down, and it just folded over on itself, and it stuck to the back of the other side. And when that happens, you're pretty screwed. I've saved it once or twice from that, but it's not easy. Main thing is just don't get stressed out. Try not to get yourself all worked up and nervous. When you start getting nervous and worked up about stuff like this, that's when you start getting problems. See, we got a little bubble right here. When a long time ago, I'd have been scrubbing on it, and then I'd put a crease line right in it. Then I realized that just the heat from your finger just gets rid of it. I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but right here is a little screw up. What that is a piece of dirt in the paint job. But it is what it is. It's a little tiny dot. Down here, where it kind of stuck in the wrong spot, you can carefully, gently lift it back up. And always try to work your way out. Don't come back in, ever, because that's going to take any sort of error from out here back into your panel. Plus, you don't want to run the risk of taking your vinyl and rolling that edge over from squeegeeing it back into the artwork. And you don't have to go super crazy pushing this down really, really hard. After a day or so, this stuff's going to stick really well. After it gets warmed up, sitting in your house, your garage, wherever, it's going to get warmed up, and it's going to stick really well. So there we go. We got our artwork on. So now I'm going to spin the cabinet forward, and let's get the coin door put on. Okay, now we're going to get ready for the coin door. Now, I still buy a lot of artwork. We don't have files to a lot of this stuff, and they're not available. And the time it would take to try to get, let's say, Journey artwork, I bought that from Joe Zabo. The amount of time it took us to try to recreate that artwork from something that we have nothing of other than pictures on the internet would be astronomical. It would not be worth it. It's easier to just order it from somebody who already has the files. Tapper, we printed the side art and the front art, the control panel overlay, the glass for the marquee and the screen all came from Phoenix Arcade. We cannot reverse print on the glass or anything like that. And that's screen printed and it looks really good. And then also the Tron that I did, all of the Tron artwork came from Phoenix Arcade. You got to get it from there because it has black light reflective ink on it. We don't have a printer that can print reflective vinyl or whatever it is they print on their ink. So, you know, a lot of these older games that I'm restoring now, I have to order my artwork because we can't get the files for it. And it is what it is. Luckily, stuff like this and Galaxian, Galaga, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, all the basic stuff you can get online. And you can get them pretty close to the right measurements. But it just seems like almost everybody is a little off one way or another. It seems like nobody's perfect. And I've even heard stories of people say that the artwork on the Tron control panel from Phoenix, the colors are a little different on the writing maybe or something like that than it was originally. But I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, you can only do so much. You can't restore a game and have half your control panel ripped off because you want to keep the original artwork. It's just not gonna look right. So, but all right, let me grab the nuts for the coin door and we'll get that installed now. I gotta go grab a couple washers. They didn't have washers on the back of those nuts and they were really dug into the back of the wood and had a hard time taking them off. So I'm gonna grab a couple washers and put those on before the nuts. Okay, I got some washers. I went up to Home Depot earlier and I grabbed the lock for the door, the coin door, and for the back door. My arcade in the basement, I use all the same lock and key for every cabinet. I had just bought a ton of them from a seller on eBay. He was selling them in packs of 5, and they're the, so I'm gonna run a washer in, and the locks that I use, the cylinder ones, they're the ones with the round key. And I probably bought 100 locks from the guy, so that every one of my games has the same lock on it. So it's kind of nice, it makes it a lot easier if you need to go into a game to just grab one key. But if you don't have, you know, 50, 60 games, it's really not that big a deal to have a couple different locks. Okay, I got the first one started. My nut driver's not the right size. I'll have to get a bigger one, but at least it won't fall. See if we can get the other one started. I think one of the nuts I grabbed are the wrong size, so I'll have to grab the other size nut. But the reason why I was having such a hard time getting these off is they didn't put a washer behind them. And look at how thin these nuts are. They're so thin that when the wood had swelled up a tiny bit, the nut was encapsulated in the wood, and I had it almost impossible to get the nut off of it. So this washer will stop that from happening, hopefully, ever again. And the funny thing is, the wood really doesn't look swelled up that much, unless somebody from the factory just had an aeromatic or something and just ran it in there real good. I gotta find one more nut, because this one apparently is not the right size. So I gotta get one more nut, and I need to get one size bigger nut driver. Okay, I found the last nut. This bottom one's kind of a pain because of the coin box. You know what else I want to do is I got new leg levelers to put on this, so I want to change those out too, which I'll probably just do that on my own. We just got to unscrew the old ones and screw the new ones in. I'm going to grab the lock. We might as well put the lock on, which they only had 2 different style locks. One of them is shorter this way versus this one. We're going to use the longer one on the back of the cabinet and the shorter one on the front. think that's how I want to do it, because the length of this one is 9/16 inch thick panels. This one says 13/16, so we'll use this for the back. And I think I need a Phillips screwdriver. Let's use my drill here. Can't wait for that plate to come because it looks kind of bare without it. So we need to see, key comes out both directions. So it doesn't matter if the lock's this way, the key comes out, or if you spin it, the key comes out. On mine in the basement, it only works one way. So if you have it turned down, in mine, the key stays in the lock cylinder. So I think we're going to put it this way. So this would be open, this would be shut. So we have this, these ones have a Phillips screw. Mine in the basement actually have a nut on them. So they come both ways, it just depends. Oops. There's a stop on here, and I'll show you. Let me get this nut on here. These I usually just hand tighten them. Usually good enough. This piece right here, how it's shaped, it hits the stop both directions. So it only lets the key turn so far. So you got to make sure you put it in the right direction, depending on how you want it to lock and unlock. So I have it in the position to go like this. So now we can put our screw on the back side. Get this adjusted down here. Try to make it a little bit easier to see. So we need to put this on first, which this one looks like it might be long enough. They have a longer one as well. Let's try the shorter one first and we'll see if that's going to be long enough. Now it's not like we're building this game to go back in an arcade and we got to worry about locking it up because we're going to take quarters. But I still like to have everything function right. These ones are kind of tricky. There's a bunch of pieces you got to kind of hold together and then get this screw started. So now it's set up so that that's open, this is locked. Okay, we're hitting right now on the inside of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to bend this out a little bit. I might have to grab a pair of pliers. Sometimes I could just bend it out by hand. A little bit tight, and we're rubbing a little bit. On this top edge we're rubbing. So I'm going to take these 3 screws, loosen them up, and we're going to try to just drop the door down just a little bit. I'm going to go grab my nut driver and probably a flathead screwdriver, because if I don't grab that I'll need it. And we're just going to try to drop this door down just a little bit. I'm going to loosen the middle one, and then we'll loosen the top one. And then I'm going to hold the door, just loosen this up a tiny bit. Go right there. Just going to tighten the center one. Now we're not rubbing anymore. Tighten that one up. Okay. No rubbing anywhere. Shuts nice and easy. We're done with that part. Now let's put the latches on for the control panel. Go grab those. Okay, we've got some screws coming. All right. So we are going to put these on. There's one on each side. And these go this direction. Your humped area goes upwards. Good thing about a lot of these games is they tend to use the same screws for almost everything. Sometimes some will be a little longer than others, but for the most part, they're all pretty close to the same. Just get that started so I get the other one in. Okay, that one's on. We'll throw this one on this side. Okay, now I'm going to go grab those two brackets that hold the rest of the control panel on. Those go along that back piece of wood right there. And these are not centered, they're offset. The reason why they're offset is because of where the joystick's mounted in the control panel. Okay, that's done. I gotta go get the a new speaker grill. I have some new ones in the basement. So I'm gonna go grab a new speaker grill because I don't want to use that one that has a little bend to it. I'll grab that, we'll put that in next, and then we can put the marquee lights in and see if we can clean up that marquee. Okay, I grabbed a new speaker grill here. And I have to go get the speaker now. I got that. Which that's just in the back room, so let me go grab that real quick. Okay, I grabbed the speaker here. Now I remember when I took it off that the wires were on this side. So we'll just stick that up there. I have all my bolts and my nuts down there. I gotta get these leg levelers adjusted and changed. So I'm just going to stick a bolt through here. Drop this over top of it and we'll get this nut started. Trying to remember, yes, there is a ground wire. So we have this one that goes to ground, and that one goes, we'll put it on the back bolt for the speaker. So let's put that one in next. Now we'll get our ground wire on there. Have to tighten these down. Every once in a while you'll get some crushed walnut shells inside of your nut, and then it won't want to go on. So you got to kind of tap it out. Yeah, this one does not want to go on, unless this might be the wrong nut. Let me go grab another one. I think this nut might be messed up a little bit. Okay, got that fixed. It was actually the threads on the nut, on the bolt that were messed up. Now I'm just going to tighten this up. I'm not going to go over tightening it like the last people did and dent that speaker grill all up. So I'm just going to tighten it up till it's tight. Okay, that's done. We need to connect the two speaker wires back up with the electrical caps that were on here before. And I know that, I remember that the blue or the green, blue and black and the green wire were together. So we'll re-wire cap those together. Okay, let's get these capped back together. Somebody must have changed the speaker at some point with the new one and they just cut the wires and put caps, which this is fine. There's nothing wrong with these. I'm not going to electrical tape them or anything like that. They're not going to go anywhere. So now that's done. Now we can work on putting our lights back in. We have one on each side. This wire goes to ground, which, let me grab those brackets. These are the brackets for the lights. We need to mount this light housing onto the bracket this way. So I have my bolts down here and my nuts. So we're going to do this one first with the ground wire. Stick that through there, run my ground wire, and then put it through the hole. Now we'll start our nut. Okay, tighten these two to the bracket. These have star washers built into the nut, so you don't really need a wrench on the backside. So that's for that side. Put the other side on. This one's kind of going to have to stay up in place. There's not enough room on the wires to pull it forward anymore. So we'll get this put on. We'll do the ground wire again first. I think we want to go this way. How did those go? These were mounted like this. So we want to go that way. I like to do the ground one first because it's a lot harder to sneak that ground wire in if you have that top one in already. And once you tighten up this nut with those star washer, it'll bite into the metal past the paint job. So because this is only spray paint, so you'll be fine with grounding. Okay, that's done. Grab our screws here. Make sure that they're not too long. I always like to check, even though I took them out. Okay, those are in. My light bulbs are right down here. I haven't checked these if they work. Who knows? We'll just have to test them and see. Okay, now we need to clean up that marquee. And then we can get the marquee in, and then we'll put the T-molding on, and then that'll end this video. And then on the next video, we'll do the monitor and the board, get those put in, and we should be about done. Okay, this is what we're dealing with here. The auction house stuck a sticker right to the marquee, and it is stuck. Somebody tried to scrape it off, but we're gonna try to soak it down first. We're gonna try just window cleaner. Let it sit on there for a couple minutes and see if that doesn't start loosening it up. If that doesn't work, we might have to do lacquer thinner, which is just going to dull it up even worse. And I try not to use lacquer thinner because I don't want to get more of the backing ruined than there's already ruined. Luckily, it's not too bad. There's a little bit of black missing, and I would like to just try to take some black paint and just dab in the areas that it's missing on. So I don't know. I'm hoping this is just going to soften this paper up, even if it takes a couple layers or a couple times. I'm all right with that. It's starting to come off a little bit. You could probably use Goo Gone or something like that as well. I don't know why they got to stick these on here like this. trying to just use my fingernail so I don't scratch it real bad. We're gonna run the buffer on it, just polish it up a little bit. And then I'll try to touch up the black paint from the backside. I'm gonna respray this. I'm gonna let it soak for like 5-10 minutes. All right, it's been sitting. Let's see if it'll come off more. Looks like it's all coming off. Actually, I don't know that I'm gonna buff this. Seems to be coming pretty clean. I don't know if I buff it, if it's gonna make much of a difference. Yeah, I'll run the buffer on it real quick. And then we'll touch up the paint. I'm gonna buff this on the floor because if the buffer grabs it and it wants to go flying, it won't be up in the air where it could fall and break. So we're gonna just use automotive buffing compound. And we're just gonna buff up this plastic, try to get rid of some of the haze. There's not a lot of haze, but there's a little bit here and there. So we'll see how this works. little bit of residue right here from apparently another sticker or tape or something. Okay, you can see how much better that looks. It's nice and shiny. Now I want to go and fill in some of these nicks in the black area. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of black paint, and you can see all these little nicks. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not. Yep, you can. These are all black areas right here. A lot of these are. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get all of them, but we'll do what we can with it. Down here is all messed up, but that gets covered by the piece of metal trim that goes on. So I have a little touch-up brush here and some single stage black paint. We're going to take it out of this can here. Now we're just going to take it and just put dabs in it, and we'll see what it looks like. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but it should look a little better. Okay, look at the front side here, how you can see through that everywhere. Let me do this whole area right here, and then we'll see what it looks like. I'm just kind of putting a dab of paint over top of it. If you're worried about this peeling more, you can spray a coat of clear coat on the back side. Okay, I think I got all those spots. So look at the difference. You can still see through it in a few little spots, and I might touch it up a little bit more. And it's always nice to have a light behind it while you're doing this, so you can kind of see what you're doing, because you can look right through the piece. Some of these areas are kind of orange spots, but I don't know. I think it looks better even having the black in there versus missing spots. We'll light it up and we'll have to see what it looks like, but I like trying to keep this original stuff if I can. When I did my Tron and I bought all my artwork from Phoenix Arcade, I used everything new except for my Marquee. My Marquee looked better than the one that they printed. It had like the fade between the colors looked way better than the one that they printed. So I ended up selling the one I had, the new one, on eBay. I think I got like 40 or 50 bucks for it. So it helped pay for the $600 artwork or whatever it was. It was expensive. But what are you gonna do? I mean, you gotta have the right artwork on a game like that. Look kind of dumb if you didn't. Almost done here. And we'll see what it looks like. Like I said, it's not going to be perfect, but it definitely looks better than it did. Let me move the camera here. So you can barely notice this now. You can see a little bit. So I might just put one more coat over top, and then I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, now I'm going to put on the Marquee brackets. I'm going to put the bottom one on first. I'm not going to tighten it. I'm just going to get it on there loosely so that I can set the Marquee into it. I'm not going to go tightening it all down. Okay, that's loosely in there. We can take our Marquee, set it in there. Let me grab the top bar. Okay, Now we can kind of just set this in here. And we'll start cranking it up in the center first. Okay, it looks like it's almost not tall enough. We're gonna have to kind of move this up a little bit. There we go. After this, we're going to do the T-molding, and then that'll be the end of this video. This one's probably pretty long. It's probably a good hour-long video, I imagine. I haven't checked it, and I don't edit, so I start and stop, but I don't edit. So kind of is how it is. If I make mistakes, I make mistakes, and you guys get to see it. Starting to look good. You go grab the green T-molding and we'll start putting that on. All right, let's start putting on our T-mold. I like to start at the top and end in the bottom. On this one, we're supposed to come around the back a little bit and come down a couple inches. So we need to go to about here. I don't have my cutters out here. Actually, I can go get some. But I need to make a V-notch in here. Just like that. Pull it back and cut that piece out. Then it can wrap around the corner and not get bound up. So we'll stick this in. Edges like this that are very slightly rounded, you don't need to notch it. Just tight edges. And then for now on the bottom, I'm just gonna cut it long and I'll tuck it under after. So just cut this long. And then we'll tuck that in afterwards. I gotta put the leg levelers on, so I'll just tuck it underneath afterwards. So that's one side. I'm going to try to measure this about the same height. Put our V right about here. Our V cut in it. Just cut it down. This way, I'm just cutting the V this way. There we go. You also can do this laying down if you want, the cabinet. Okay. I'm gonna try to just tilt this back and see if I can't just do it now real quick. I don't know if I have to make a relief cut in it or not. I don't think so, but I might. No, but I might have to put a little screw or a nail down there if it pops out. Clean up this edge. There's a little bit of Bondo hanging off this bottom edge down here. Just taking my knife and cutting it up. There we go. That's done. Let's just set the control panel on here, just so we can kind of get an idea of what it looks like almost finished. Since this control panel has those pegs on the top, we could set it on here and not worry about it falling off. I don't want to attach it yet because I got to put the glass in. But we can at least set it in here. And you get a really good idea how it's looking. Oh, also, since we painted this edge right here, see how it sticks out past that T-mold the tiny bit? You really don't ever even notice it. All right, I think that's gonna end this video. I think this video is probably plenty long enough. So this is part 6. Part 7 is gonna be the monitor. The circuit board, I forgot we got to put the high score saver on there, which should be pretty easy to put on. And then we'll check that edge connector. I might just wrap that whole edge connector. Let me go grab that real quick. All right, this is the edge connector. Somebody had sanded it. Somebody did a repair on this one right here. And this is a copper tape. I do have that copper tape. I'm almost wondering if I should just not cover all these up with that copper tape. And it might make it just fat enough so that that edge connector goes on there and gets a better bite on there. And then the high score saver kit, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked it up yet. Pretty positive it goes here. We need to take this off, put the high score saver kit on, and then put this chip into the high score saver kit. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that until I look later. I didn't look at the instructions on that. I don't plan on changing these capacitors unless they need it. They look fine. They're not blown out or bulged or anything, but that doesn't always mean anything either. But hopefully that'll be good to go. We won't have to worry about that. So that's going to end this video. This is part number 6, and I will see you guys later for part number 7. Thanks for watching. If you guys could, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Thanks.